of our neighbors is already calling our outdoor space the yard. But it was, that was sort of the intent, was to make it kind of feel like a little bit of a chicken scratch.
And I don't think we have any voice in that necessarily. I mean, I think if that's your intention,
Yeah.
that's like, that's not up to us. So really it's a materiality for us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
Sorry, we had to go full circle on that. Just trying to, we love your place.
I think the one thing that we have,
What to do with this place?
yeah,
All the time.
the one thing we have to be really diligent about is that we don't make it more non-contributing.
Gotcha.
So even the spirit that you're trying to capture with your aesthetic, that's all you, and we can support that. We just have to make sure we're not adding another, as I sometimes say, adding another ornament on the Christmas tree that doesn't need to be there.
And to be clear, that vinyl fencing did make it more non-contributing.
It did.
And I don't know if that got snuck in or if another prior group here did it, or I don't remember that.
I think
coming
it's the
through.
danger of this property that since I've been on here, this is probably, it was before you guys, Elbow Room was on the docket. So every single time it's like, well, this matches that. And then the next time it's, well, like that matches this. And that's the danger we're in, I think. But
We joke every now and again because the building is so old and problematic that we'll just pop a fork in the toaster and walk out.
right.
Start again. But the truth is we couldn't start. We
Yeah,
couldn't
we can't
reproduce
reproduce
what's
that.
at.
Right.
Right, it
It's
does,
authentic.
and it fits what you're doing.
If it's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
good.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we've tried to clean it up as much as it feels right to clean it up.
There's a point where it doesn't work. Once it's
You
made.
don't want it too
concrete.
nice.
Right, right.
Does anyone else have questions about the structure? Because we don't have cut sheets or anything for material, but
That
it
was the
says,
only thing I was going to mention is with the specific addition with the window, bypass window, I think it is, and then a door that's on the south side, showing a solid door.
Yes.
We just need those cut sheets.
Because we are less than 25 feet from the building to the south, we have to have that wall fire rated to 1 hour. So putting anything with glass in that door
Yeah,
would
yeah.
make it
So it's
seriously.
a solid, is that on there? What's the door type then again?
It'll be sealed. 1 hour rated, well, 20 minutes.
just
1 hour
plain
assembly.
steel,
Plain steel.
no raised.
No, flush.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
The building is currently cedar T111, which we will continue.
Yep.
And then it's a mixture of composite and wood trim. And we will use the appropriate product at the appropriate location. We might need to use composite where we have the to-go window, the service window, in order to protect it from abuse.
And I think that just as long as that trim, we can put this into
Smooth.
motion, is not
Grain.
stamped.
Yeah, I have a larger version to that myself.
Anybody else have questions or anyone ready to make a motion?
Yeah. I don't have the verbiage that they have.
Here it is. I can.
Here we go.
do it. You want to do it?
Well, you can probably read it. better than I
Okay,
can.
I'll make a motion. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at my phone with this on it. I move to approve the building addition, customer area fencing, extended 8-foot fence, screening and generator placement in accordance with the plans and details submitted within the application materials. Approval shall be, so, I don't know that there are any conditions. Are there?
Is that your motion?
Yeah. Application materials.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion? Do we want to add any more detail on materiality? I mean,
It's in there.
maybe we can
So-
just reference that cut sheets were provided at the meeting. And you didn't ask to enclose the generator and it's
I
not,
did,
so
yeah.
it is enclosed?
Oh, and a generator placement in accordance with.
Okay.
Placement.
Okay,
But they're gonna leave, we didn't say we cared about that.
you're
I
right.
believe there was a comment in there that said if you did decide it would be a lower fence just to barely cover it.
But that's up to them, right? I think, yeah.
Okay,
It's not in the application. Right.
all in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for working through it with us.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
that wasn't our smoothest discussion, but it was, thanks for bearing with us.
It was a bit of a journey.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. So the last item in new business is the review of our 2024 goals, which we had in December, which is the reason they were 2024, but we didn't have a December meeting. So they could be our 2025 goals. I think, Russ, you suggested that we bring these back and just get them in front of us just to sort of take a look at where we've been succeeding on those, or maybe anything we need to do to slightly modify. Obviously, we're going to have a new commissioner. We've done better on some things and not really gotten out of the starting gate on other things, but I'd say we're doing better is my point of view on a few of these things. Is there anything anyone would like to do or add or change to these?
I have one comment that came to my mind, and that is, we had talked about, I think Laura had at the time said she would try to draft something, but how do we get ourselves into like the commercial record or some kind of thing? And also on there is a summary of to the city council of everything the group has done. And I'm wondering if you can kill two birds with one stone.
Great point.
And do a summary and then tailor a newspaper article with those same elements in it, not have to redo two things.
Yeah, that's a
And
nice
you would
idea.
do that at the end of the year anyway.
It's a great idea. You're right.
Sorry to interrupt. I do a similar thing for the ZBA where I just run a report on everything they've done. I just did it today for their 2024 year. So I can do a similar at the end of the year. I could run everything we've seen, whether it was denied or granted, the motions in there, and have a sort of Excel spreadsheet of everything we've done. I'm happy to include that whenever. As far as getting something in the newspaper, I mean, that's definitely something I can look at.
And I can write the summary, the sort of higher order that incorporates some of our goals and objectives to that too.
And the other thing I would add in there too, the thought is that it's a good time, even though I think you've done a nice job of sending thank yous to people who've come applied. I think another general thank you publicly to these people for working with historical might be a real good PR
Yep.
play. So
Nice idea.
If I could add, we could add some language in the bylaws to state that we have a yearly review or an annual report. And maybe I can include it next month or the next month we meet, but maybe we could just go over it in December or January. January works too. And we'll just look at, oh, this is what we did. This is what we approved. And that could just be something we review yearly.
I have one more thing too. Even though I know it's on our website, it may be a good place to just put a little blurb in there about this is the historical district. This is what it encompasses.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think there is something on there. It's just not easy to find.
It might be in a weird spot and we're trying to.
Double check and make it a little more clearer if it's not
We're
so clear.
updating the website right now. So it's been a longer process than we anticipated.
Yeah.
But we are moving things around, so I'll note that and add one on there.
No, I just meant in that if we are, whatever we put in the newspaper, it might be
Oh,
good
to have that.
reemphasize.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
point.
that's a good idea. Because people think the hill is part of it and they don't know that Mason Street is half in and half out. Yeah.
Russ.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is great. This is anyway, I'm full support of this. It's a fair amount of work to get this stuff right. I appreciate the city's, the staff has most of the responsibility for doing everything that we ask them to do. With limited resources, so I just again appreciate the effort to support this. A few things. One is the website. I have mentioned several times at council, we need to completely revamp our website. If you look at any other community, most communities, Saugatuck stature, they're literally miles ahead of us. And I really support from a council standpoint, spending money to have a professional redo everything, make it more customer friendly, et cetera. So that we actually have a strategic planning session coming up on the 24th. And I'm going to again mention that I think we really need to, we shouldn't put this on the shoulders of city staff. We really need to get better at that. And this would tie into what we're trying to do here too. You know, the other thing that again, I really appreciate is the fact that we put in, you know, in terms of measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, the whole system makes total sense to me. The other thing that comes to mind and as part of this process is two things. One is that we would, I think, want to more align with the budget year as opposed to the calendar year. We have a lot of stuff that updates on the calendar year as opposed to the fiscal year. So if we have
Fiscal year.
July 1st.
Okay.
So I would suggest we start thinking about it from that standpoint as opposed to the calendar year, because then it kind of creates a little, in my experience, it creates a little bit of a confusion or division, especially when it comes to money.
Well, the historical signs, I was thinking one of my questions was, where's the budget for that? If we put the new signs up, and that would be supporting go into the
Right.
fiscal year. Okay.
Yeah. And two is around that, you know, my experience with whether it's zoning or planning is that after we make a decision, a very thoughtful decision, you know, 2-3 months down the road, I walk past something and I'm like, what in the world were you thinking, Gardner? I missed this, or I didn't think about that. And I think that's important for us too, from an update standpoint, is to communicate to the community and the council that, you know, we go back and we look at what we've done, right? We, you know, we think, could we have done better on that? How could we have done better on that? Celebrate the successes, of course, but I'd very much like us to spend, you know, a little bit of time, you know, not just the numbers. We can tell you how many applications were approved administratively. We can tell you how many projects were approved by the commission, you know, the comments. But I think it's important for us to demonstrate that we actually step back for a moment once in a while and say, we could have done better on that. Or could we have asked different questions? So that's just more of a general comment at this point. I just think it's good to just make sure that are we fitting our purpose? In other words, are we getting the things that we should be getting done?
Yep.
So I am full support of this. I think this is a wonderful start. I'm 100% on board with it.
It
comments
does,
make
it
sense?
does. In the context of a summary, let me look back at these and incorporate some of that feedback and make these 2025 and bring them back for the next meeting. That works.
Did we do that's question in there? There was a 3-question survey. Have we been doing that?
We have
Okay.
not. We haven't done the signs. We haven't done the PR newspaper stuff. We haven't done an award program. I feel like what we've been successful doing this year is kind of getting our act together as a group of commissioners and acknowledging applicants, kind of making them feel welcome and included before, during, and after. And I think we've had good success in sort of how people walk out feeling like they've accomplished their goal or not. But the busy stuff, I think, is what, you know, we're all sort of have stuff on our plate. So I think that's what we need to get better at.
This is just coming from me, but I also think that the group has what I would call great balance in terms of people feel very comfortable to speak up and disagree and say, I
Yep.
don't. And I think you've got a great skill of sometimes pulling people back or even giving us pause. And I think that we should feel good about that.
Yeah, I think disagreement's okay because there are two logical sides to how you interpret guidelines. And I think we're all going to do that differently. And I think that's okay. As long as it's rooted in some truth of what that guideline is.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and I wasn't sure if that was on that, I think we mentioned it, but I think, especially the new ones, including myself, we would benefit from that because we come in and we assume that there's some process to get this thing done. And it is a lot of gray, right? But there's also some hard ways, you know, there's there's some parts of a process that would be valuable. So everybody says, oh yeah, that's right. We got to have to, what are the facts of the case versus the
Mhm.
opinions of the case?
Mhm.
And, you know, we tend to straddle that intentionally, right? You have to, and that's what I'm learning from being here is that you learn there's a tremendous amount of compromise that goes on here, but within the setting of a historic district. So,
Right.
but I sense that, you know, you get new people in and you don't know how this operation runs. There's
Well-
no idea of how it runs.
Well, even Amy saying she was on the commission, was she on it with you or a different
We were
time?
married.
Amy?
Mhm.
Oh, that's fine. So, yeah.
Huh.
Okay. So
Full
you-
disclosure, yes.
Okay,
One of his wives.
So you have awareness of that time period.
Yes. Yep, full
Um,
disclosure, I didn't want that to be a.
Yeah. Um, I think everyone has a different perspective of what this historic district is. And everyone who comes in has a different, like, over the last 8 years or 9 years, however, I've learned this is not a pure historic district. There are compromises because we're not Georgetown. And we shouldn't make Georgetown decisions, but we should protect in the way that's important to this community against our guidelines. So I think that's where the push and pull are.
Yeah, and again, when I pull out my, been around this place for a while card and talking about the property down on Lake Street, you know, I always have to check myself because my memories of what this town used to look like is different from where we are today. And the Historic Commission itself, you know, back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, really was, you know, viewed as being, all they care about is color choices, right? What's the color of the paint that you're going to use? And we've gotten far away from that. We've gotten to, you know, Keith's point, we've gotten more to, you know, what the regulations tell us we need to be focused on, but there's still those nuances. And so I bring those comments up, not to offend anybody, but just to say that when we grow, we want to make sure we grow to maintain some of the things that the community tells us they want to, the quaintness, you know, that's something I always get stuck on is the quaintness of the community. In my opinion, in my personal experience, a lot of that's been lost. How do you maintain some of those things? And zoning gets involved too, is that the planning commission has very, you know, even strict rules than we have in terms of what they can do. But we're all still kind of focused on the same goals, right? So how do we support the planning commission and how does the planning commission support our goals? It's a very delicate balance, how to do that and what does historic district commission actually mean? To your point, a lot of people I don't think know.
Well, that would warrant a nicely done article, like
Yeah,
even in our condominium complex we mentioned the other night. Yeah, it was built in 83 and it's rolling right up on 50 years. I would almost guarantee you most people in our community do not look at that architecture as anything special. But it is.
Mhm.
From in the design and architecture world, it is, and it's only going to get more special. But I just don't think, because the district was created to prevent more of those things from happening, those condo communities, I think we have to reset on the historic fabric that we have and what we do want to protect. That's one
Well, and you
reporter's
know,
opinion.
we are in some ways trying to protect, the word quaint always comes up, but this town has a lot of that.
Mhm.
So we're here to protect the fabric that is left, and there is a lot left. Like Coughlin Park used to be an old ugly factory
Good
building.
exchange, yeah.
So look how beautiful it is now. It's like one of the best
Mhm.
things we have. We have the Christmas tree.
Right.
So, I mean, there's give and take with how, and it's committees like this that helped make that happen. Like,
Well, we have to remind the community too that new modern architecture spotlights the old. We're not losing the quaint because the historic district will prohibit the quaint from being destroyed. But where something is built, new next to old it's celebrating what's beside it instead of, you know, so all of those things I think are things that we need to continue to amplify. I just wish we had time to do this commercial record stuff.
Right, well, that's kind of where I'm going with this, is that there's a lot of great stuff here. I think we need to be realistic about what we can actually hope to accomplish during the course of the
Yeah.
year, because we're, you know, we're not full-time at this and city staff is already burdened with a lot of things just that they have to get done. So to add to that plate, if we need some help on this from a professional standpoint, I'm always supportive of looking for some professional help. If we need someone from the outside to come in and contract for some of this work, fully support that. The city is not in a position where we can't afford to do that. I mean, we have to choose what we want to do, but I mean, our statutory commissions like the Planning Commission, Historic District Commission, I think benefit from, you know, we have David Jurasik who helps us on this as well. I would just say that that's if something we think we could use and we can identify a resource, I think that's something we should ask for
I think.
and budget
I don't know,
for.
Maybe I'm too simplistic, but in terms of the article for commercial record, what are the 4 or 5 key points we want to get across? We're not going to be able to take a lot of space in it. I don't think we need a.
I can honestly bang that out in an
Bang that
hour.
out. I have a
I can.
suggestion. And it could involve more help, but if we take one meeting that gets canceled because the applicant cancels and that was our only agenda item, and we still come anyway
Yeah.
and do this
Good idea.
That'd
and
be a
work
good idea.
together and write the thank you notes,
Yep.
come up with a really simple award program. We could have those pre-printed, pre-placked, whatever, just have them ready, but sit and talk about it and then present, you know, figure out who's gonna go present it.
Embedded in the meeting.
Yeah.
And the little 3-question survey, after they come here, you've got their materials, probably have their email. After they've completed the presentation and we've decided on, it, you send them out the survey. It'll be very quick and you put it on Survey Monkey and you get the results. It's-
Yeah. I mean, but a little bit of a working meeting while we're already gonna be here anyway,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense for
Carve out a little
busy
bit.
schedules.
It's a good idea.
Although I can't, there was a few times this last year we did cancel because there wasn't anything on the agenda. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even the weather days, we're all close. We all can walk
Well,
here.
or we could Zoom if we don't have an
Yeah,
official
yeah,
meeting.
but the bad
Well, I
weather
guess
day
we
that we
could-
canceled, we
It
could have
would be
been
an
here.
official meeting.
I think we could book a workshop for something like that. And
Yeah.
I also would say, I don't think I have anything. Oh, no, wait, sorry. We can get things a week in advance here. I'm thinking of planning commission timelines. But if we don't have anything and we're at that deadline day, I could send out an email to say, we don't have anything. Should we book a workshop that day? And then
Well,
do
let-
exactly that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if that happens, let's chat because it's only as good as a really good agenda. So I would want to make sure I'm thinking about this conversation and crafting a good agenda for us.
We don't have that many goals, so we
Yeah.
can start with that commercial
That's great.
record thing. He can bang it out if we just talk through the points and all agree on that and then let Tim have at it.
Well, I
Could we
can, I
look
can,
Back at 2024, I mean, if we got it done like by February 1,
There's-
it would be.
there's nothing that prohibits me from sending,
No.
we just can't.
You can't all be, so you could make quorum accidentally if you reply all and then you have a
Correct.
discussion with all of you. If you're discussing individually, no.
So,
don't
but I
think there's
can
any
send
issue.
something out to you guys and we can plan on talking about it on the agenda.
Absolutely.
That's what I'll try to do for the next
Well, yeah,
meeting.
that's like one of our agenda items.
Right.
Like, or a project, yeah.
Okay, good.
And just, I always want to ask city staff,
Yeah.
Sarah,
point.
what do you, what do you think about what we're discussing, or is there any ideas you have that we didn't, hey, what about this?
Okay.
And you don't have an answer, but I always feel like we should be asking city staff.
Absolutely right.
Well,
Nope, you're going too far on that. We don't have time to do that. Please be honest.
well, as in terms of the historic district and what you guys do, I'm obviously very new, and as a zoning administrator, personally, I'm not a fan of any kind of interpretation. I love it when the zoning ordinance is black and white, and I can point to these are the rules. This is, very, very simple. But when it comes to aesthetics, you're never going to get away from interpretation. So when I came in, I was very nervous about you guys as a board, what we do here. And actually, I think it's fantastic. It's very cool. It makes sense. It's, I'm very appreciative of what you guys do. And I think getting some more eyes on it, getting it in, the commercial record's a great idea. Updating the website's a great idea. Like you said, when it comes to updating the website, I think we do need to maybe outsource. I don't know. Actually, Sarah does a lot of the website stuff. So maybe we do outsource and update the website a little bit, but getting it in front of the public a little more and saying, are you in the social district? Are you sure? Sometimes I get people, apply to Michigan Township Services to replace a fence or something. And then Michigan Township Services will email me and say, is this in the historic districts? And I'll say, yes, it is. We need to, that actually happened with the pool. And so getting some awareness out there that we have a historic district and you may be in it, and maybe a way for them to check themselves, I think is a fantastic idea, and I'm happy to help wherever I can.
Thank you. Sarah?
What we talked about this a long time ago, the realtors that sell homes here. How do we always keep the potential homeowner aware that they would be purchasing or have purchased a home in the historical district? Can we do that?
Well, that's only as relevant as keeping them aware that they're in any district,
Okay.
really, because, for example, if they bought a home in R1 and intended to rent it, and they're at the cap and they can't, that's on them. So it's on them to do the research. I don't know if there's any way to guarantee that third-party sites are advertising that there's a historic district, because there's just so much of it.
It's in a disclosure.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
That's right.
it's just getting the agent to
Okay.
understand it.
Disclose it.
Yeah.
A lot to add. I think you guys do a great job of prioritizing your goals, and, when I compare it to other commissions, I've always gave you credit that this one runs really smoothly and, very easy to work with. As far as like recognizing different homes, would you be able to present that in a meeting?
Sure. I don't know why not.
You could use, I know commercial record costs, I don't know what the budget is for historic, but we have been working more to work on the website, but more on Facebook and
Yeah.
social media as well. So there are some
I think the city's done a good job with that.
options of.
That's
doing that.
a really good point.
Recording it or something?
Yeah, because
Recording the presentation of it?
record it anyways, so, we could put it out in MailChimp and send it out to all the,
Correct.
residents, they see that. So just a
good
few
point.
other ideas.
I like that.
Yeah, the city's really upped its Facebook game.
Mr. Ryan. He's-
And I do want to caution that my comment about the website redevelopment has no reflection on city skills.
We are not web designers, just.
No, we need to move.
Does it make any sense who did the Visitors Bureau website? Because it's really good.
Concept Day.
Because if we could work, there's content that could be shared, and that could be a good overlap. Because that is superb. that
Yeah, I think
website.
your suggestion about professional help, I feel like probably starts with me, given what I do professionally. If I can get my act together on this writing front, I would rather spend money on the web front. And that's where Concept Day or somebody like that would be.
Yeah, and there's actually, it's interesting because for municipal websites, there's a number of different professional organizations, the MML and ICMA and so forth. They actually have contests for communities to register to win an award for the best site of the year for client, customer, resident services, whatever it is. I'd love to see us try to get a goal like
Yeah,
that.
it'd be nice.
That would be something to be very proud of. Saugatuck's got a reputation for being a pretty, advanced community, but when you look at our website, I'm like, oh man, we can do better than this.
That's great, and it's,
It's clunky and
yeah, it's very hard to
Yeah.
manipulate things and move them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Russ on that, we definitely could use a new website.
Okay.
Why don't we just continue with the simple list that we have? Keep it local, and we have high quality information based on what we do. And those that suck information out to put it on whatever site you want to put it on, I don't think that's our purview. I think ours is to have good information, successful meetings, happy customers. And then if the city wants to get that out there on the website, I don't think I want to be micromanaging what goes out there.
I think
You get the
Yeah.
creatives involved to know what we do, how we do it,
Yeah.
and pull the information in and massage it and make it look like something that is cool.
I agree with the only addition that writing for a Facebook post or a newspaper article and amplifying the success isn't hard.
Right,
It isn't
right.
hard for me. I just need to carve out time to do it.
Yeah,
So
it serves more than one purpose
It-
too.
it does.
Because it does educate, you educate through example, like by example of what we've, you know, had come before us. It educates people.
okay, I've written with Will's pen some good stuff down. So I promise I will come back in February with a little update there. And I will send thank you notes out. I forgot to bring them tonight, but I have them at home. Let's keep going. Any administrative approvals or updates?
No, not specifically, although, real quick, would you like the general sort of Excel spreadsheet annual report of
That'd be
everything
great.
we've done for next month?
Yep, and you and I can work offline on that. That'd be great.
Sure, well, yeah, definitely, 100%.
You start on that, I'll start on the summary and we'll,
Could you
Actually-
send that Excel spreadsheet out to all of us?
I'll put it in the
If-
packet.
Yeah. okay,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
definitely.
Yeah.
I can do that beforehand too, if that's what you meant. I'm happy to
Yeah.
just send it out
It's
once
just nice
it's
to
done, yeah.
see and then slice and dice it.
I can send it,
let's
to,
work on that together.
Yeah,
You do your
sounds
part, I'll
great.
do my part, and then we'll send it out even before the meeting.
fantastic.
Any communication? Any public comments?
Oh, for communication, we were going to touch on
Yeah, I was gonna do
246.
commission comments.
Oh, I'm sorry about
It's
that.
okay. So one thing on commission comments, I don't remember the address. It's the storefront that was on our last meeting on Butler Street,
Oh, that
246.
was the old Green Parrot.
246.
Yeah.
So they came back with a requested change that they didn't have it in time for this month's packet. Had we not heard that, I would say they definitely need to come to the next meeting. But because we've already heard the application, they're basically taking off the bay window and returning it to exactly what it originally was. It's a beam with a retail window to
I thought their
match.
application already had that.
Mm-mm.
They
It
still
had
had the
like a
bay
little
window?
bump out
Oh.
with a door on the side,
Oh, it wasn't a bay, it was like a jut
a
out.
bow,
Yeah,
or whatever you
yeah.
call it,
And then the entrance was to the left?
to the right.
To the right,
Oh,
as
right,
as
that's
you're
right,
looking
and then
at
they're
it.
gonna
yeah.
go upstairs.
So I didn't pull it up tonight because I didn't want us, since it wasn't on the agenda and it wasn't in the public, on the link, I didn't want us to vote on it. However, because they've already come before us, I did look at it. I'm comfortable with it being staff approved because it is so exactly the way the building originally was that I didn't have concerns, but I want you guys to have eyes on it if you want eyes on it versus it being staff approved. And if that's the case, we can have it come back for the February meeting. So I wanted to get your opinions on that.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'm fine with your staff approval.
Okay. Anything else, commission comment wise?
I just have one thing and I have
Let
a,
me just finish up on that before we go. We'll see what that's going to be after it's approved.
He can put it on staff approved.
But I mean, we'll see what the final version is. I mean, it'll be documented.
I mean, you normally wouldn't. That's the problem.
Oh.
On a
so we'll have
staff
no
approval,
design?
So,
they've submitted a design. They just
Okay.
didn't get it on the application.
So you've seen it?
I've seen it.
Oh,
Okay, but what's the traceability? I mean, where will it be documented that? it
It'll
was
be
changed?
documented in his staff approval.
yeah, and so
Okay.
obviously everything I do is completely
Got it.
public information. So anyone who came in and wanted to see it, or
Unless
if it
it's
was,
somewhere out there.
yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if we have regulations on this, but if you want me to include when I approve something administratively, I can include the application and the plans in the packet. I'm not sure if that's something I'm supposed to be doing already. I haven't done many administrative approvals yet, but this one is yeah, they have documented it very well. It's just they sent it to us first and said, yeah, essentially, how do we go about?
All right.
If you guys are more comfortable with it coming back, we can have it come back.
I'm comfortable with it.
I've actually never seen an application that has replicated the originality of a building like verbatim. And that's kind of what they did. So that's
Great.
why I was like doing a little silent cheer
Yeah, I think
inside.
they've gone to enough trouble already. Like, why have them come back?
Okay.
Agree.
I agree.
All right, well, sorry.
I just gonna say is, given that we're down one person already, I have a conflict that I'm not gonna be here in February. I can Zoom in, is that allowed? It's
It's
not.
not, no.
Unless you have
Okay.
COVID.
You, well, you can zoom in, you just can't
Yeah.
participate.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
you can
I'm worried
watch
that
and
will
eat your
that
popcorn.
screw your quorum up if you're still,
Hmm.
what's the quorum? What's the number?
Five.
Four.
Oh, five.
Four.
Four,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
You
fine.
should be okay.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a way advance notice.
Yeah.
I'll reply again saying I'm not gonna be there, but
Appreciate it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Second.
second.
All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the input.
Give them.